I want to talk about something today that I've put off talking about since I created this channel, and I'm still not really sure if this is something I should be discussing. But it's children, raising children, and being an undiagnosed autistic and ADHD woman, raising neurodivergent children, and how hard that was and is. And the reason I don't want to really get into a whole lot of detail about it is I do try to keep my private life private to some degree. Obviously, I share a lot of things on here and a lot of personal insights, but, my kids are adults now, and I don't want to say anything that would, draw them into my story and my stories. I want them to be able to live their lives and do their things, and so it's something I've put off talking about, but I do feel often like I failed my children as a mother. Not for lack of trying, and not for lack of love or care, just that I spent so many years as a dysregulated mom, a mercurial mom, that I was not able to provide them with the safety that children need, the consistency that children need, because I myself was inconsistent and could not find that sense of safety within myself. I do wonder now a lot, now that I have gotten a diagnosis, if their life would have been different or better if I'd have known at the time. But this was the late 90s or early 2000s, and there was even less help and information available then to autistic people than there is now. So I don't know that even if I knew, that I would have been able to get the help and understanding that I needed to be a better person, to be a calmer person, to learn how to regulate my nervous system, and in turn to attune with them and provide them the things that they needed. And I think about that a lot when I talk about CPTSD and childhood trauma and, my own CPTSD and what I must have caused in my children, because I know that inconsistencies and emotional immaturity, things like that, do affect children, and they affect them lifelong. And I wonder how much I screwed up my own kids with my inability to regulate my own nervous system and handle the incredible stress and pressure that I was under all the time to work full-time job, provide for the family, be perfect mom, a Holly homemaker, as well as, the independent woman who didn't need no help and was working all the time and paying all the bills. And, I felt at some points like I was succeeding as a human, but always felt like I was kind of just below the line as a parent. And I love my kids dearly, and I have a decent relationship with them now. I try to stay out of their life as much as possible and not give unsolicited advice. And just let them live their lives and do what they need to do as adults and as parents of their own. I am a grandmother, so I do try to let them make their own mistakes and live their own lives and do their own things, because I think that's important, and me constantly interfering would not really be helpful. But I wish sometimes I could go back and be better for them, be a better mom to them. And just simple things like, every day I would come home from work, I'm incredibly dysregulated, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed. And the first thing when I walk in the door from two smiling little faces is, "What are we having for dinner?" And I would just snap. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Just leave me alone. 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. And it had to be hard on them, watching mom cry because she was so dysregulated and stressed and overwhelmed. And, I tried not to make money pressures a pressure for my children, but when you don't have any, what do you do? What do you do? You have to tell your kids, hey, we can't afford that. I'm sorry, but we just can't do that. Or for me, it was a lot like, hey, we have to make sure we have enough money to last until mommy gets paid again. So no, we can't go out this weekend, or no, we can't go do these things that you want to do, or no, I can't buy you that thing that you need. School supplies, so expensive, such a stressor. And I know a lot of people are dealing with that right now, with it being back to school time, if you're watching this in real time. And, it was difficult. It was difficult to have all the stress and the pressure on me and not let that spill out of me and onto my kids. And I think even the best of us, even the best parents in the world, have had those moments before. But recently, with taking care of the new puppy and being dysregulated all the time from the stress of the new puppy, it has reminded me a lot of the dysregulation that I felt with my kids, having to take them to doctor's appointments, knowing that I was missing work, that we had this incredible time pressure to get there, get them seen, get them to school, get me to work, not miss time, not, just, I can feel myself ramping up just thinking about it and how dysregulating that was for me. Time pressure has always been a huge, huge dysregulating factor for me. And ironically, every job I ever had was a time-sensitive, time-pressure job. I tried to make moments magical for them. I did. I tried to make birthdays extra special. I would go while they were sleeping and decorate the kitchen so that when KK came out first thing in the morning on their birthday, they would see balloons and streamers everywhere and there'd be presents on the table for them. So I tried to make birthdays very special. I tried to make Christmas special. I kept a job for almost 10 years simply because they did a $1,200 a year Christmas bonus, and that was necessary. But then after leaving that job, I would put myself into debt every year at Christmas to make Christmas happen. And I would decorate, floor to ceiling with Christmas stuff and Santas and this, that, and the other. And I really tried to make it a magical experience for them. But I don't know if they remember it that way or if they just remember mom being really stressed out all the time. Unlike a lot of parents, I have apologized to my children as adults for my mishandling of them and my inability to be the best mom that I could have been for them. But you have to think, I had been 20 for 2 weeks when I had my first child. I was still a child. I knew nothing of the world or how to take care of myself or anything really, much less how to raise a child. So I grew up with them, and I wasn't fair to them, and it's not an excuse. But it is what it is, and I did the best that I could, but I still feel that it may not have been the best for them. And I didn't just have my 2 daughters, I have 2 stepdaughters, so that also increased the pressure of birthdays and special events and Christmases and things like that, because it was not just buying for 2, it was buying for 4. And that also was a huge increase in pressure that I tried not to lay onto anyone to give that pressure, but I know me, and I know now that when I'm dysregulated, everybody knows it. You can see it. I don't hide it very well, and I know they felt that. I know they saw that, and I feel bad about it. Even now, I mean, I'm almost 50, and this puppy has me so incredibly dysregulated and just overwhelmed, and I'm grouchy, I'm mean, I'm snappy, I'm tired. I just need a few minutes to myself. And again, it just reminds me of that feeling that I had for damn near 20 years raising kids. My childhood was a very overprotected childhood. I was not allowed to do much of anything with anyone. I had zero freedom, which made me a really good liar. And I tried not to do, I think we all try to do the opposite of our upbringing with our kids, especially if you did not enjoy your upbringing. So I tried not to be that hovering helicopter mom with them and to let them do things and experience things on their own. But that was difficult too. Because as an autistic person, a certain level of control, of routine, of things like that was necessary for me to feel okay. And so I did try to routine their lives as much as possible, which I do think is helpful for kids in general. But we would do things like I'd plan out until they were old enough to pick out their own clothes. We would plan out their clothes for the week, and they had little cubbies with all of their clothes labeled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Just we tried to eat at the same time every day, tried to eat at the table together. Never forced them to eat things they didn't want to eat, because that was something I was forced to do. So I would cook separate meals for whoever wanted it, or if they didn't want to finish it, that's fine. I don't care. Because again, that's not how I was raised. If it was put in front of you, you eat it. And it's a personal affront to the cook if you don't. I think raising kids in general is probably one of the most difficult jobs that anyone can take on. But I think raising kids as an undiagnosed autistic and ADHD young woman, very young woman, who just got out on her own, who just went through major mental upheaval of her own, and then the hormonal changes and things like that that come with pregnancy, and how difficult that is. I mean, I was the worst pregnant person in the world. I cried constantly. I was so upset and so sad and so miserable in my own changing, huge body. It was terrible. It was terrible. And I made the decision to have my tubes tied while I was pregnant with my second child. I had had 2 miscarriages in between them. I was 24 years old at the time, and I knew I was done. I knew I was done. And I had 3 male doctors try to talk me out of that I would change my mind the first time I held a baby. I would want another baby, and that never happened. I never regretted the decision. And I do understand and respect the decision that a lot of young women are making today, that they just don't want to have children. They want to live lives and have freedom and do things. And I will say, as a young mother, that is one thing, one benefit, that, you do have a little more time toward the end of your life without kids. And by then you're a little older and you get to explore things and do things that maybe you would not have done in your 20s or whatever if you had waited to have those children. So I don't know. That's a long rambling video, and I apologize. But again, taking care of this puppy has really brought back some memories of what it was like to be a young mother, a young undiagnosed, dysregulated, neurodivergent mother, and how difficult that was. And I think it was finally time to talk about it, and the guilt and the shame and the things that I carry about what I wish I could have done more for my kids, and how I wish I could have been that regulated, calm presence in their lives, but I just was not capable. And it seems like, unfortunately, I still am not capable of being constantly regulated, no matter how many tricks I know and how many things I know and try. I think my nervous system is always going to be something that I just have to handle with kid gloves, and know that I have a propensity to become dysregulated when I am pressured for time, to become dysregulated when I am pressured by financial obligations, by work, when I do not get any alone time. And these are all things that parents face. And so if you are a parent out there, if you are neurodivergent and you are struggling raising children, if you are raising neurodivergent children, I know it's hard. It's very hard. And I know how little support you get. And how great it would be if somebody would just come in and say, hey, you're doing a fantastic job. You really are. You're doing a fantastic job. The kids are happy, they're clothed, they're fed, they love you. You're doing a good job. So if you needed to hear that, you're doing a good job. And sometimes I have to tell myself, my kids turned out okay. And maybe I did an okay job too. And I do love them dearly. But I don't know that I would go back and do it all over again, knowing what I know now. But if I did, hopefully, hopefully, I would be a more regulated and more calm presence for them and have caused them a little less trauma in their lives. In any case, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope maybe there was something relatable in there for you. And if you don't have children, I understand that, but this was kind of an experiential life experience as a undiagnosed neurodivergent parent kind of video, and what I know now versus what I knew then. So, thank you for listening, as always. Leave me a comment. Let me know if anything in this struck a chord with you. If you related to anything. If you're a neurodivergent parent raising neurodivergent kids. And if knowing about your neurodivergence has helped you feel any more confident in that, I'd really be curious to hear about that. But thank you again for listening. If you stayed this long, I appreciate you. And don't forget to stim that little likey like button and all that good stuff too, because that really helps more people see the videos. And I like talking to all you guys. So thanks for listening. Love you. Bye. And I'll see you in the next one.